Hello, fans of the sweet and sometimes savage science. Welcome to TalkBox, your pound-for-pound podcast prime destination for all matters boxing. That's news, analysis, interviews, and so much more. It's 60 minutes, championship-grade material, taped at the Everlast Studio in the heart, New York City, hosted by me, Michael Woods. Folks, it's time. Strap on the headgear and the headphones. Let's get into it. It's time for TalkBox. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and I know you're not all gentlemen out there. We know we are going to have a significant portion of our listening population coming from prisons. So we know you're not all gentlemen. That's okay. We want you to, try to be on the straight and narrow and be good citizens, but we understand people are people. Now we're going to be looking at headlines. What's the news? Who is being talked about? What fights are going to maybe be made or maybe not? Who's ducking? Who's dodging? Who's wanting fights? Who's calling people out? A lot of people are talking about what's next for Canelo, the Mexican heartthrob. I don't know if they still use the term heartthrob. I think we need a newer term for it. I'm going to talk to some of my millennial friends to see if we can come up with something. But who and when is Canelo going to fight next? Is it going to be against Triple G? What would the weight be? Would it be 154, 155, 157, 160? Is this fight going to marinate into next year? A lot of people are pushing for doing it now, doing it next. Don't let the here and the now and the fervor for it die down. Don't try to build it up too much. Give it to us right now. HBO has been pushing for it, but let's always remember this is the boxing business. And Canelo's promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, has said, my job is to attract the most fans and the most interest I can. And sometimes that means building up to something. We all understand people want what they want now. This is America. This is a now society. But sometimes you got to wait, and I think we are going to have to wait a little bit more for it. I can see both sides because I do understand this is the boxing business. Canelo would not be a bad idea for him to wait for Golovkin to get a year or so older. I don't think his talent is going to drop off. He is a well-preserved man. He does not live hard. He does not beat up his body, so I don't know that that would help him. But it would help in marinating it, getting the names out there to more of the masses, transcend the hardcore a little bit more. So I believe that that is what could happen, but who knows, maybe they just spring it on us like they did Canelo against Khan. I wouldn't be bummed out at that either. Hey, another guy that we want to know when's he fighting, who's he fighting, is Deontay Wilder, WBC heavyweight champion. He had a fight set for May 21, but that went off the rails when his proposed foe, Alexander Povetkin, tested positive for, what was it? Meldonium, the Sharapova special. And so he needs a dance partner. He is in shape. Could we see him fighting in Brooklyn in July or August? I think we could. He has made no secret of it. He wants Brooklyn to be his home away from home. New York, media capital of the world. Hello, we are taping in the Everlast Studio in NYC. So we would appreciate it. And happy to hear from you guys. Get that hashtag going again. Hashtag TalkBox, and tell us who you want to see Wilder fighting. Chris Arreola has been rumored. No offense to Arreola. I believe that would be easy work for Wilder. Maybe you guys have some other suggestions. More fights going to be coming up in Brooklyn at Barclays Center. Danny Jacobs is going to be in action. Last time you saw him, he destructed and destroyed Peter Quillen in one scant round. Word is possibly he's going to be suiting up again against Sergio Mora. They started to fight last year, and then Mora busted his ankle. So 35-year-old Mora may be getting another shot at Brownsville. Danny Jacobs, very much looking forward to seeing him after that demolition job on Quillen. And of course, a lot of people, no shortage of them, taking to Twitter and saying, Jacobs, come on, why don't you call out Triple G? We want to see that 160-pound matchup. And absolutely, that's on my to-do list, my wish list for next year. Those guys are two superior athletes within the division. No reason it shouldn't be made. Maybe there is a reason, maybe politics or what have you, but as always, we are optimists. So fingers are crossed that that one will get made. Another one. This is a continuing theme here. Gennady Golovkin. Who are you going to fight? When are you going to fight? Are you going to fight Canelo, or is it going to be someone else? I do confess, I get a little bit bummed out sometimes that so much discussion is focused on fights that may be made, that are being discussed, that are in discussion. This is the age that we are in, where people have their theorizing and their wish lists, and they have the social media platforms to discuss it. I wish that more concrete fights and more action were being discussed. So much of the time we're talking about the possibility of fights. Mayweather, is he going to be fighting again? And Canelo and Golovkin. I think more time should be spent on reality, on actualities, rather than this theoretical. But this is the age that we are in. I'm keeping fingers crossed that these things come to fruition, that we get out of the planning stage and the flirtation stage and get to the place where we're making these fights. Get them made. Powers that be, get them made and give the people what they want, because the sport as a whole benefits most mightily when we do that. So come on, people, smile on your brother, get together, and don't love one another, but fight each other. But love each other enough to sign on the dotted line, get those contracts hashed out, and let's get some of these fights that we're talking about to the ring. And that's our wish for today. So our fingers are crossed, and that is the headlines for this session of Talkbox. Ladies and gentlemen, so pleased, so proud that our first guest on Talkbox is an actress, an activist, proud owner of the fiercest Brooklyn accent that you've ever heard. I think probably the most famous one-time resident of Bushwick. And Rosie Perez, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think the only person who has ever thrown a box of chicken at Don Cornelius of Soul Train and lived to tell about it. And also, crucially, most crucially, the reason for this appearance, a voracious boxing fan. She watches all of it, man. Showbox that starts on the East Coast at 11 p.m. on Friday night. This person is on it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rosie Perez to Talkbox.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Woodsy. That was, wow, a great introduction. Thank you very much.
Well, okay, so a lot of people, Rosie, a lot of people are going to say, hold on, backtrack. Threw a box of chicken at Don Cornelius? Wait, what? So can we get that anecdote out of the way? And by the way, that's in a story in Rosie's book that came out in 2013 that I heartily recommend that you purchase. No bullshit, no plug there. It's a from the heart tale of explaining where she came from. She came from, and we're going to get into all of this. I think I understand a little bit why you're a boxing fan, because I think you come from a similar place of, humble origins. And damn it, you've had to fight to get where you are. So please tell us about throwing a box of chicken at Don Cornelius.
Well, as I write in the book, I was going to college. I was a marine biologist major out in L.A., and on my spare time, we used to go to clubs, and a talent scout for Soul Train came and asked me to be on Soul Train. And I was like, oh, my God, I couldn't believe it. And I said, can my girlfriends come? And he said, I have to see how they look. If they look just like you, yeah. And he took a look at my girlfriend. He goes, "Oh, y'all are all in." And we went to Soul Train, and I was on there for about 8 months. And Don Cornelius and I just would clash heads repeatedly. And for various reasons. One, he didn't like hip-hop. He didn't like me dancing hip-hop. He just wanted me to shake my ass. I was like, all right, I have no problem with shaking my ass, but, let me dance a little bit. And then he wanted me to be part of a singing group, and I was like, I really don't sing that well, and it's not really what I want to do. And plus I need a contract, and I need to see it to a lawyer. He was angry at that. And one day it all came to a head when Keith Sweat, this recording artist, kept coming over and to dance with me during his performance. And by the time the Soul Train line came down, I acted just like, can I say this on your air? I just acted like an asshole because I was just
you
done
did
with
it, and it's not getting bleeped out. First, ladies and gentlemen, first swear on the show. Rosie Perez, compliments of. Excellent work, Rosie. Thank you. Thank you for de-virginizing us with that. Thank you.
And it all just came to a head where he kept, I intentionally kept going down the Soul Train line the way I wanted to, not the way he wanted me to, and just kind of sticking it to him. And he went to throw me out of Soul Train. And I was so embarrassed and so humiliated, and he put his hands on me to grab my arm to push me out.
Uh-oh.
Bad move. Like you said, I had a rough childhood.
Yep.
It's like, I had hands put on me since coming out of the gate, and I went to swing on him, and the first thing I grabbed was the free Kentucky Fried Chicken lunchbox that they gave us, and a piece of Kentucky Fried Chicken hit him in the forehead. And that was
Perfect
it.
aim.
It went downhill from there.
It couldn't have gone uphill. I read that, Rosie, and you know what irked me, because I fancy myself a little bit of a Twitter activist too. We fight for a lot of the same things, I think. And I read, and did I get this correct, that like they paid y'all with boxes of chicken? There was like no money, but here's free lunch, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
weak.
That was
so
the
he deserved.
he
deserved.
It's borderline illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's it was a union job.
Right.
And but the dancers there, I felt really bad for them. I had other plans. That was just fun for me. But the people there, that was a board for them to jump into bigger and better things. So they kind of just sucked it up and went along with it.
Rosie, you did jump to bigger and better things, and you're still doing it, still reinventing yourself. Stage, screen. You got a hell of a resume, and you're not stopping. Did I hear correctly that currently that you're delving into more writing for film? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I have a writing partner, Ramon Rodriguez, and he and I wrote a spec script. And Edward Norton, the actor and film producer, loved it, and he is now producing the movie. And so I'm really, really excited about it. And I have another offer that I didn't tell you about,
right?
But it's not finalized right now. But it will be if everything goes through, it will be another co-writing job.
Excellent, great tease,
yeah.
Great tease. Just read about you in the Wall Street Journal as a voracious fight fan. In the book, there was, when I was a young man, I used to leaf through a book and probably look for the spicy parts. Now I'm a middle-aged gentleman, and I leaf through for the parts about boxing. There was a reference to early, checking out the sport and seeing that you dug it. Do you remember the first fight that you watched? Was it just Howard Cosell that stood out? Was it with Dad? How did you really get cemented into liking boxing?
Well, first of all, I got cemented because, as you read in the book, I was part of the child welfare system and foster care system, and I was a ward of the state. And I would go on visiting trips to my mother's house before my father and my aunt got me out of the system. And I just wanted to be a part of the family. And the one major thing, and it's very cultural for Latinos, when there was a boxing match on, everyone would gather around the television set. And back then, I'm dating myself, it was wood encased and very large on the floor. And I just wanted to be a part of things. And when I watched my first boxing match, I was very, very young. And I didn't really understand who was fighting against whom or anything, but the excitement that it garnered from everybody in the room, it just spoke to my soul. And when Howard Cosell was just ratting off, and it was just so exciting to me. And even as a little girl, when somebody slipped a punch, that I was like, yeah, because unfortunately, even at 7 years old, I was getting into fistfights and stuff. So I understood it in some type of way. I understood it. And when, and somebody, you could see the bad guy versus the good guy. And when the good guy was actually winning, my soul was just cheering, because I related to it.
My soul
when you
was
get knocked
cheering.
down and
Beautiful.
you get back up, that's like amazing to me. And so I don't remember. I think that when I really became a boxing fan is when I saw Sugar Ray Leonard versus Willie Benitez.
Right.
And as a Puerto Rican, we're all rooting for Benitez. And when Benitez lost, a hard fight, I might add, everybody in the room was crying as well as I was.
Right.
And it was conflicted in my soul because I was crying that, Willie, the Puerto Rican that was a living icon at the time, lost, but also I felt guilty because I really liked Sugar Ray.
Right.
And I felt like I didn't have that right.
Right. What about, we do some rapid fire questions on the show. I'm going to fire one at you now. Last fist fight you were in. Last fist fight I was in was, I remember unfortunately, it was at SOB's. It's a club in New York. Right.
And it wasn't my fight. My girlfriend started talking shit to these other girls at the club who were jealous of us.
Right.
We get into the bathroom, and they were lying in wait.
Ooh.
And I was in the bathroom stall. A girl opens up the bathroom stall and headbutts me, and I couldn't believe it. Yeah. And so that was like in my early 20s.
Right.
And it was just like, all right, let's go. And we just started scrapping, and it was pathetic. It was a pathetic scene. It was about 7 women fighting each other in a bathroom at SOB's. That was my last fight.
And there's still time for that, but we're hoping that you're going to be peaceful. I'm the same way. I have Irish blood, and you have a Puerto Rican temperament, and so we try to be, behaving ourselves now. I do want to ask, Rosie, are there similarities between the Hollywood scene and the entertainment sphere that you've been in? You did The View and dancing and choreography and acting, stage, screen, everything, and boxing. Are there similarities? Are there business similarities? Are there temperament of the people involved similarities, or just differences? Are there similarities or differences between Hollywood and boxing?
There's a lot of similarities because, first of all, it's pure theater. It's, you're stepping on a stage, whether it be the boards of Broadway or the squared circle of a boxing match. It's still a stage, and you're still expected to perform, and people have paid a lot of money to see that.
Right.
So the nerves are the same. The preparation has to be the same, and because if you're on stage and you haven't done your homework, it's going to show. And the same thing in the boxing ring. But also what most people don't talk about is the business side.
Right.
A lot of fighters are at the mercy of their promoters or their managers, and the networks that decide on, who's going to fight whom. And, and it's kind of the same early on in an actor's career where you have, agents and managers, and who are deciding, they're the ones that are looking for work for you, and you're just waiting. And it's not until you have your Oscar De La Hoya moment or your Mayweather moment and say, wait a minute, this is my career. And you start taking it into your own hands. But that takes time. It takes time because you got to prove yourself first. You got to get the coins first, and then you can move forward in that type of Mayweather / De La Hoya direction. So there's a lot of similarities, and just like a fighter, all they do is train for one fight. Same thing with us. When I have a Broadway play, all I did, my main focus was just opening night. That was it. And I couldn't let anybody bother me. Everyone had to step to the side. And people think that's selfish, but any real fighters listening on your podcast here will understand exactly what I mean.
Right.
You got to be like that.
Now, you use a word that I am not familiar with. I think I understand it with context, but the word is dag. Dag. Can you tell the people what dag means? D-A-G, dag.
Yeah, you know what's so funny is that when I first got to social media, specifically Twitter, I'm tweeting live during a fight, and it just came out. It wasn't premeditated, and it's just, I guess it's still that residue of Catholic guilt is that I didn't want to curse on social media, so instead of saying damn, say dag, because back in the day, that's what you would do as a young person. You wouldn't be disrespectful by using the word damn or goddamn, so it was dag.
Right.
And at first when I started using it, the young people were like, what the hell does that mean? And but older people got it. And now I see it all over social media, and I think it's cool. Like, yeah, so it's just a term out of actually respect that I didn't know any other way to express myself. It's like, if a fighter got like really knocked down or a ref made a really bad call, it's like, dag. Like that's.
It comes out of your mouth and so naturally from you. I'm not going to start employing it, but I enjoy it. Rosie, I was, digging into that book, and I found myself being affected by it. And I found myself honestly rooting against some of the people in the book. It seems like you have a good handle on forgiveness of some of the people that have done you wrong, but Sister Renata, in fact, even your mom, who suffered from schizophrenia and at various times treated you very poorly. So I guess my question is, you as a human being, how did you come to that place where you could get to a place of seeming forgiveness for these people that treated you so poorly?
To be quite honest, Michael, it wasn't easy. Mm-hmm. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of work. I went to therapy, and I spoke with my father at length, God rest his soul, and my aunt too at length, and they're the ones that were pushing me to forgive, and I didn't get it. I was so angry. It's like, why should I forgive them? And I remember my aunt telling me, she goes, so you can have peace.
Right.
And I said, what? And she goes, it's not about them. It's about you. If you don't forgive, you're never going to have peace. It's always going to be there. It's going to be a part of you, that angst and that anger.
Right.
And it finally clicked, and I was like, if you don't forgive somebody, you're holding on, this turmoil inside, and they may be going about their day not giving a rat's ass about it, That's all on you. And so, for me, forgiveness is also means that I'm letting it go. I'm just letting it go. I'm not going to let it affect my life so deeply or bog me down so deeply, because one thing I don't believe in, when people say you need to forget the past is always there.
Right.
But like what I write in my book, your past can haunt you. Like, you could be the only person treading water in the Atlantic Ocean. You're probably going to drown. That could be your experience as an adult with your past. Or it could be, or you could build a bridge and get over it, but you're building a bridge not over an ocean, but maybe just a puddle.
Right.
But that puddle will always be there, but it's not going to overwhelm you. You won't allow it to, and that's part of forgiveness. It's just like, let that part evaporate out into the atmosphere and be gone with. I'm not going to let it affect me. And also, it's just being compassionate, is that, I don't know what Sister Renata went through to make her such an evil, diabolical, sadistic woman, but
bitch.
Something must have happened.
She was a vicious bitch. Yeah, really rotten.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can say bitch. She was a bitch and a witch.
Yeah, but
Yep.
Like with my mom, she wasn't right, but yet I came to an understanding. It was a result of her mental illness, it wasn't. I don't blame it all on that, the bad behavior, but it had a lot to do with it, and also a lot to do with her unable to go after her dreams, and I also, that was part of my forgiveness, because I realized her wanting something so bad affected me, and that's why I go after what I want. I don't want to sit there, in my old age and say I shoulda, woulda, coulda. I want to go for it.
Right.
So I don't have any bitterness,
Right. Yeah, Rosie, Everlast is the title sponsor for this podcast, and something that I try to communicate to people is that boxing isn't just professional boxing. I go to Gleason's all the time, and my 9-year-old daughter has been training for the last 6 months or so, and I now understand really even more than ever about fighting to improve yourself, fighting to get over trauma, over worries, anxieties, fighting to get stronger. And so I see it among non-professionals all the time. So that's why I was very pleased to hook on with the Everlast people, because they speak to that message. I see you and your feistiness, and I've read about it. Have you had any training? Do you, have you had boxing lessons or anything apart from sort of in the group home and all that stuff?
One of my one of my half siblings, she just kept seeing me get my ass beat on a regular.
Right.
And the problem with me is probably like those fighters who step in the ring and they keep getting knocked down and back, and you're like, stay down, just
Right.
stay down, you're not going to win.
Too much
Stop
heart.
taking the punishment. And basically that was who I was.
Right.
And so my skills didn't match up, with my heart. And so she took me out back one day, and I had a half sibling who was a contender for the Golden Gloves, and
He never did the Golden Gloves, though, as I remember in the book, right?
No.
Training
He
for
tried to get the Golden Gloves. He wasn't dedicated enough.
Right.
He didn't really follow it through. There's a lot of people trying to get that title.
Yes.
And he didn't have the follow through. But
Right.
Anyway, so she taught me. She kept hitting me in the face. And I was like, why you keep hitting me in the face? She goes, I'm going to keep hitting you until you move out of the way.
Good lesson.
I was like, oh. It's as basic as that. And outside of that, I also studied Kung Fu for a very long time with Sifu Shi Yangming of the Shaolin Temple. And Wesley Snipes turned me on to him. That was still is his teacher, his master teacher. And and that was because I started to get extorted, and I didn't want to walk around in fear. So just in case, I wanted to be able to defend myself, because first rule in kung fu fighting is run.
Right.
If you have to be a smart fighter, and a smart fighter will understand, if you can't take on that opponent, run.
Right.
And that's a fighting tactic, and if you can't run, you better be ready to defend yourself. And
Right.
so I fell in love with Kung Fu. I loved it, and I studied it for years.
But we see you ringside at the boxing matches. We see you at Barclays all the time. Are we going to be seeing you June 25th, Thurman against Porter? Will you be there live?
Oh, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be there. Are you kidding? I'm so excited for this match. It's difficult for me because I like both of them on a personal level.
Right.
I got to meet both of them. I met them first I met Thurman at the Mayweather-Canelo fight out in Vegas. And I screamed, I went, Keith Thurman! And at that time, nobody was really paying attention. He's walking through the corridors
Right.
of the MGM Grand. And he turned around, and his wife said, I think someone's calling your name. And he goes, someone's calling my name? I said, it's me, it's me, Rosie Keith Thurman. I love you. You're going to be champ one day. I said, you're going to be world champ one day. That's what I told him. And he went, oh, my God, I can't believe you know who I am. I said, are you kidding?
You made his month.
Met him, and then he was a sweetheart. And then
He
I
is.
met Porter and his father
Right.
at that same fight. And he came up to me,
Right.
and he said, Rosie Perez, my name is Sean Porter. I'm going to be world champion one day. Watch.
Right.
And I said, I'm sure you are.
Right.
And I was like, wow. And it's so incredible to now have them both fight against each other. So yes, I will be.
You will be present. You're
Because
so
both guys got that power. Huh?
right. You're so respectful, though. You're a person who sometimes I'm going to put you on the spot. So respectful, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Who wins that fight and how?
Why are you doing it to me?
Because I'm mean.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm rude and
You know,
mean.
it's hard for me because I like them both.
I know.
I do. I think.
Because I know you know your boxing. You know what you're seeing in
my
there.
boxing.
I know you do.
Let's just say this: they
Right.
both got a lot of power.
Right.
You know, they really do. You know, Thurman, sometimes you could see him get nervous. You see it when his eyes start to widen.
Right.
You know, when he's fighting and he's trying to be super concentrated.
Right.
That sometimes works for him and against him. And with Sean Porter, I see what happens with him when he feels that his power is not being as effective as he wishes it could be. He gets a little frustrated and he starts moving forward too quickly, which could get him in trouble as well. So I think that the Porter Thurman fight is going to come down to who makes the most mistakes, and that's going to be the victor. That's my political answer.
Oh, Rosie, you just provided me a superb segue. Bless you. I've heard on the grapevine that there is some politics in your future, and I'm starting up a hashtag movement. The hashtag movement is Rosie Perez for vice president.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and I've been in touch with the Clinton people, Hillary Clinton, and I'm waiting to hear back. So are you open to that? VP?
No.
No?
No, I wouldn't be open to being vice president of the United States. That's a tough job.
Yeah, but you have the common sense, and you're a real person. You've been down and you've risen up, and couldn't we use a real person? Or I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you're a Trump fan and you think Trump is a real person, and you're going to be voting Trump. I don't know. Quick, let's delve into it. Let's go there. No.
No. I've been appointed a part of the Democratic National Convention, so I think my politics will be clear once I show up that night. So,
are you a super delegate, Rosie?
Excuse me?
Are you a super delegate or a delegate, or what's your task going to be at the committee?
Okay. I'm on the credentials committee that oversee the delegates. So if anything goes wrong through a process of arbitration, with the delegates, we all convene and so on and so forth. But that's only happened 2 times in the history of our nation.
Right.
But the committee has to be there just in case. And so I'm really proud of that. I was very, very shocked when Debbie Wasserman Schwartz asked me to take that on. But I would never want to be vice president, because then I would never be able to go to a boxing match ever again. Because your life has to be dedicated 100%. To
Rosie,
to politics.
I'm sorry. I've already started the hashtag movement. I can't stop it. I can't stop it. Rosie for VP. Hey, could you do a couple rapid fire questions for us? Bing, bang, boom. Rapid fire questions, some true, false, some fun stuff. You mind staying on a minute or two more and pepper you with sort of a speed bag of questions?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try.
And if you really hate them, we'll cut them out, okay? Here you go.
All right.
Rapid fire for Rosie Perez, activist, actress, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I heard a rumor that a couple years ago, Fox reached out to make a celebrity boxing contest between you and Jennifer Lopez. True or false?
Completely false.
Okay, I made up that rumor. Actually, that's completely false. So that actually works with that. I got another true or false. Dan Raphael of ESPN has blocked you on Twitter for declaring that Michael Woods is your favorite boxing writer. True or false?
That's false as well.
Okay, but I am in your top 10 or 5, or I'm high on the list, right, Rosie?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be on this call.
No, absolutely. Excellent. And then here, rapid fire. Single most glaring mistake on your Wikipedia page?
That my Feaster Carmen is my twin. We are not twins.
Not twins, everyone. Oh, see, no, we're helping the world here by getting to the truth. I love it. Now, listen, you do have a couple projects that people are going to want to be looking out for. Am I right that there are 2 movies that are going to be out this year featuring Rosie Perez?
Yes.
Talk to me about those, please.
Well, one is just it's a buddy comedy. It's very silly and very much a lot of fun. It stars Luis Guzman and Rosario Dawson, and I'm in it. And it's by Sony Pictures and Focus World Pictures, and I think that's set to come out in July.
Okay.
And that's produced by Pitbull, the recording artist.
Right.
And Luis Guzman. And the second one is the antithesis of that. It's a very, very, very serious drama starring Diane Wiest and David Oyelowo. He's the guy that played Martin Luther King in Selma. And we all know who Diane Wiest is from Woody Allen films. And I play her nurse, and she is a dying patient, and it's very, very serious. I like that film a lot, and I think that comes out in the early fall.
Okay, excellent. We're going to be seeing you at the local boxing matches, a lot of stuff coming up at Barclays in the next couple months. Going to be keeping an eye out for you at the Democratic National Convention. Where should people find you if they want to learn more about you? Should they go to your Twitter handle?
Yes, please. Yes. At Rosie Perez, BKLYN. That stands for Brooklyn.
Yeah, it does. Best Brooklyn accent out there. I owe you a favor, so if and when you are VP, if you want to tap me to be like boxing czar or something, I will stand up and I will accept that challenge.
All right, you got it.
Thank you so much.
VP.
Thank you so much. Not never Trump, but always Rosie. Thank you so much for your valuable time. Rosie Perez, boxing fan extraordinaire. We appreciate you coming on TalkBox.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. I'll see you at the fight.
You got it. Be well. This week's questions from TalkBox Nation, brought to you by Everlast. Everlast has been in boxing since 1910. From legendary champions Jack Dempsey and Sugar Ray Robinson to current superstars like Deontay Wilder and Canelo Alvarez. You guys know Everlast is the brand of choice for generations of world champion professional athletes and also regular folk who ask questions. We want the toughest. And we're going to ask our man Andy with an I, to furnish the question from TalkBox Nation. Fire, sir.
All right, so we have plenty of great questions coming in this week. The first one that obviously I think you're going to have the most to say about comes from a guy named Danny in Long Island.
Danny with an I?
No, Danny with a Y this time. He wants to know your thoughts on Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor.
I put it out to Twitter Nation, which is now called TalkBox Nation. And man, I'm not finding people who are liking the idea of this thing. Now, this thing it isn't anything yet. It's pure speculation. It's being talked about. And frankly, I don't know if it's just a publicity stunt, if it's a bit of a con, just to sort of stir up the pot for Team Mayweather. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think the number of people that do know are probably like 5. And none of them are in this room, except for Ms. Hickey. She might know. Our man Pacquiao's cousin is over there. He might know. Our man Chris Z, he might know. But no, I don't think anyone really knows, except for like Floyd Mayweather and a couple other inner circle people. I always boil it down to this, man. It's about money. It's the boxing business, right? So people are like, well, I'm a purist and I don't want to see that. Okay, but are people going to make a lot of money on it? And anyone who has read me over the years knows I'm not like this ultra-capitalist, I'm not a big Trump fan or whatever. But I think I'm old enough to know that how the world works is a lot of it is money is the fuel, right? So is this thing, if it happens, going to make a boatload of money? Yeah, so we should start with that understanding and go from there. Now, as far as fighting goes, I view it the same way I view just about any other Mayweather fight. Floyd's going to win easily. He's going to win every damn round unless he chooses to let someone win one. Now, Conor McGregor, I spoke to the guy who sparred with Conor McGregor, Chris Van Heerden, South African athlete. And I got the lowdown. I said, man, would he have a chance? No, he wouldn't have a chance. So as long as it's not sort of oversold and like this guy got a chance to beat him, no one got a chance to beat him. I mean, unless he's fighting a heavyweight, no one got a chance to beat him. So if it happens, you got to enjoy it for the spectacle as an event. And understand that it's all coming from the place of making money. That's what Mr. Mayweather is about, and he doesn't try to hide it, right? He doesn't hide it. He's pretty much out front with that. I'm not one of these guys who pretends to be omniscient, say, I know it's not going to happen. Man, I don't know. No one knows. Even the guys that tell you they know, they don't know oftentimes. Could it happen? Yeah, it could happen because it could make a boatload of money. And a lot of people would buy it, and a lot of the same people who are saying, I'm not going to buy it, what are they going to do, Andy with an I?
They're going to buy it.
They're going to buy it. You're 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 going to buy it. Just because you want to see the spectacle. You want to see the event. So is it going to happen? We don't know. Would I buy it? Yeah, I'd buy it. I'd be one of the suckers. I'd be one of the 1.4 million people who would pony up to $70, put it in Floyd's pocket, rinse and repeat. All right, so we don't know if that fight is going to happen. Let's get on to more concrete items. Next question, please, sir.
This one's coming in from Eric in Hoboken. It's Eric with a K. He wants to know, what's the most exciting fight to watch in June?
Let's see. Crystal ball time, huh? I'm going to go with Ruslan Provodnikov against John Molina. Two blood and guts warrior types. Defense is going to be optional. No, not optional. Defense is going to be banned. Provodnikov allegedly has been working on the defense, is trying to become a more complete boxer, is going to be moving more, slipping more, blocking more, etc. Baloney. Okay? It's going to be guns a-blazing, throw down, pier 6, slobber knocker, all those things. Someone will be cut, someone will be down, someone might not be getting up. It's going to be a prize fight. Not a sweet science exhibition. Very much looking forward to Provodnikov Molina. Fire! Another question, please, sir.
This one's coming in from Jose in Brooklyn. Jose, with the most recent PED scandals, wants to know more your thoughts on Povetkin's failed test, and then what you think Wilder might do from here on out.
PEDs, I've become an expert, a scientist, if you will. Meldonium, clenbuterol, ostarine. All these Wikipedia pages, man, are getting so much benefit now. We're looking up all these drugs that are to us exotic, but apparently, allegedly, to some of these athletes, they know them well. They give them benefits. And it's no surprise. It's no surprise that people cheat. But I want to look on the bright side. And the bright side is it's not bad news that people are getting busted. It's good news because it shows the system is working. The testing is working. Now, if they beefed it up so the punishment was real, and by the way, I've seen some professional boxers take to Twitter and say, you know what? Ban these MFers for a year or for life. Are we ever going to do that? No, we're not going to do that. But if they get some real teeth into the punishment, hey, take your whole damn purse if you just fought and then tested positive, right? If they get some real teeth into it, then I believe we can make more inroads. But I see a good news scenario here, man. The testing is working. People are getting busted. Hopefully this will dissuade the bad actors from even contemplating it moving forward. So is the sport dirty? Yeah, there are dirty elements to it, but I believe we are on a track to getting better. And that's it for this round of questions from the citizenry of TalkBox Nation. Folks, every week we'll be giving away Everlast gear. If your question is featured, you can submit a voicemail. Go to everlast.com/Team Everlast or get onto Twitter and hashtag TalkBox. You can spell that, right? Hashtag TalkBox. Fire your best question. All right, time to check the voicemail. Oh, I recognize that number. It's the fabulous and profane Eric Kelly, trainer extraordinaire, Brooklynite. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be truth-telling and there might be an F-bomb or two. Let's listen to what Eric Kelly has to say on voicemail.
Yo, what up, man? You know what? I was just thinking some crazy shit, man. This whole professional boxer and the Olympic thing. Like, I mean, I was reading yesterday on a pretty legit site about Manny Pacquiao. Isn't he like 8th division world champ? Fighting, and don't get me wrong, a lot of catchweights, but 8th division world champ fighting in the Olympics against amateurs. I mean, this guy's been a pro before a lot of these amateurs were born. You know what I mean? And granted, he's not in his prime right now, but the Olympians aren't in their prime either. You know what I'm saying? They're a little bit too, wet behind the ears. Meanwhile, you got Manny Pacquiao, 8th division world champ, fighting in the Olympics. But I don't see how that's fair, to be honest with you. It's a bunch of greed going on. Aiba, cut that greedy shit out. It's a bunch of greed going on. You got professional basketball players playing the Olympics, yes, but they're not getting knocked upside the head. It's a whole fucking different element. It's like it's two total different dynamics. You got guys getting knocked upside the head. Their brains are taking punishment. Man, come on, son. I mean, that's abuse, but it's money. It's money. They want money. They want money. They want to get the mainstream public into the sport, and that's where you fucking the sport up at. You know what? Fuck it, Woods. I ain't done yet. You know what? Fuck it. This is my thing. You got guys like Triple G. You got guys like Floyd Mayweather. These are the top professionals in the world. Sergey Kovalev. Guys who've never won an Olympic gold medal, and every athlete's goal is to get that gold medal. Are you going to let him fight a 17, 18-year-old kid? What kind of bullshit is this, man? Greedy.
Now time to take a look at future attractions. Gonna be watching Showtime on June 11th. Demetrius Andrade against Charles Hartley. Demetrius is one of the best, if not the best, at 154. Provodnikov and Molina. Guns gonna be a-blazing. Dueling fights. HBO will also be in business that night. Felix Verdejo, young man from Puerto Rico, stepping up the ladder. Vasil Lomachenko, who might be one of the best pound-for-pounders in the world right now, with only a 5-1 record, will also be in action. And then June 25th, tickets are moving briskly, I am told. Saturday, June 25th, you can watch on CBS or in person at Barclays Center. Abner Mares and Jesus Cuellar squaring off. And a welterweight showdown. Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. Winner gets what? I don't know, maybe Mayweather down the line, right? And then a little bit further down the line, I'm excited about Vladimir Klitschko. 40-something now. Can he bounce back against Tyson Fury? Shit talker extraordinaire. The first fight kind of stunk. This one, it has to be better, doesn't it? I'm hoping so. Fingers are mightily crossed. So, looking forward to that action in the near future. Folks, I do thank you so much for joining us. Now, if you like what you heard, or even if you didn't that much, whatever, I want you to subscribe to this podcast, okay? You can go to iTunes to find us. Please do follow us on Twitter, hashtag TalkBox. And, of course, inmates can feel free to send snail mail to us. All right? We've talked about that. We are inclusionary here at TalkBox. My name is Michael Woods. I do thank you for taking the time to listen to this first edition of TalkBox. I appreciate my friends at Everlast, good people. So grateful for having me aboard. We are going to be here every 2 weeks talking all matters of boxing, the sweet and savage science. Michael Woods signing off.